What's up, everyone? It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I recommend you have at least one yoga block, maybe two, perhaps even a strap, as we get down on the floor for today's yin yoga experience. Nice. We're sitting down in sukassanah in a comfortable, easy seated position. You might want to even start by sitting on your block, especially if you find that your knees came all the way up towards your chest, or even if just one knee's coming up towards your chest. You don't have to sit cross-legged if that's not what feels right for you and your body today. I actually do feel a little bit tight, so I'm going to get started on this block just to really relax because we're here for 2 more minutes. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Start to just notice as you're breathing what shape your body came into when you sat down. So is there a lot of overarching of your back or rounding of your back? And can you start to find a relaxed stack? Maybe that means you need to move your hands back or bring your hands to your lap to be supported. And as you exhale, begin to bring some heaviness of your shoulders away from your ears. And find that one spot to relax your eyes or simply close them as you begin to tune into your breath. Create some long, slow, deep inhales in through your nose. And an even longer exhale out through your nose or mouth, whatever feels best. Really bringing some focus to the length of your breath is an excellent way to stay present in the moment. Or now's a wonderful time for you to set an intention for today's practice, a positive thought or affirmation that you can reflect upon, because it's always a great time to remind yourself that you are amazing. And make your affirmation an I statement. I am enough. There is no one better to be than myself. Today is going to be an amazing day. I get better every single day. And if any or all of those sounded or felt right to you, then especially as we move out through today's class, if you find that your thoughts come back to anything besides this moment right now, how your stretch feels, how deep your breath is, when you realize that happens, comes back to that happy thought, like, I deserve this me time. It is okay. So focus on myself. All right. Slide your hands down to your knees or bring your hands to your thighs if they weren't there yet. We're just going to get some seated cat-cow. So now you can really find some articulation of your spine, and you might move real fluidly from one to another, or maybe you hold for a second or two in your cat or your cow. And just like if we were doing cat-cow in tabletop, and maybe you would have made some different shapes or circles, please feel welcome to do whatever feels good for you. We've got about 1 minute to go. And if you're doing something in one direction, take the opportunity to try it in the opposite. So use this time to just notice how your body's feeling today and where there might be some spots that feel a little bit more tense or tired. And there's nothing that you have to do, but just notice them and do your best to use your breath to create some space. Okay, come back to your sukassanah. Shoulders relax away from your ears, elbows hang heavy. Let your fingers come down to the floor. Turn your hands, palms forward. On your inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Stretch up from your waist. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Draw your low belly in and then turn towards the left. Relax your hands down wherever your hands lie. This is where we're going to enjoy a spine twist. So your right hand might be at your right leg, or maybe your right hand reached all the way towards your left thigh. Um, Ground through your sit bones. Draw your lower belly in. Once again, relax shoulders down and back, and see if you can really enhance this twist, pulling your left shoulder back and in a little bit. And then maybe you can turn and look over your left shoulder even more. But can you enjoy the spine twist with the stack from your head down towards your hips, as opposed to a big reach back or any sort of rounding that might happen from trying to reach a little bit too far in your twist? So we're just trying to create something noticeable stretch where your breath is the number one thing. So no stretch so deep that you are holding your breath because it's really hard. But it is also normal in a challenging stretch that like the breath might be a little bit more shallow, and just bring some focus to that. Again, trying to lengthen your exhale, because the more that we actually can start to relax and breathe in the stretch is when we're creating a difference. And every day is different, and your body's going to feel different every day. So we're just taking joy in whatever the noticeable stretch and stillness is that we can create today. We got a couple breaths left here. On your next inhale, bring your head back in line with your heart. Arms come back up over your head, turn to center. And on your exhale, find your twist to the other side. No judgment, no expectations. Might be shallow, might be deep. Shoulders relax away from your ears. That right shoulder squeezes in a little bit this time. And back to your breath. Make sure your breath is still flowing, or decrease your twist a little bit. That right shoulder drawing behind you. And maybe you turn, twist your head, keeping your shoulders level and your chin level. And finding stillness with your eyes, because if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. Back to counting the length of your breath, or inhaling in your positive expectation and exhaling out anything else. I like how I called it an expectation instead of an affirmation, because I really do believe that if you believe it, you will find a way to achieve it. And whether that's putting out those positive thoughts into the world, or putting out the negative thoughts into the world. Like, I'm not saying to be delusional. Bad things happen to good people. But are you stressing about something real? Or are you concerned about an outcome that you can't entirely anticipate or control? What can you control? You can definitely control your breath, you know? So even if it's that minimal little thing, taking so much pride in the fact that you took time today to focus on yourself, on your physical and mental health, to feel a little bit lighter, to just reduce some of your physical and mental stress with some deep breaths, however much or little of today's asanas you actually do. Okay. If you turn your head out of line with your heart, bring your head back in line with your heart. Inhale your arms up overhead, turn back towards the center. Oh, and exhale, relax your hands down. If you're on a block, let's come off of the block. Uncross your legs, soles of the feet on the floor, windshield wiping your legs left and right. All right, I'm just going to turn sideways. I'll face the bird so things stay quiet. We've got an upright figure four stretch next. So you can walk your hands back a little bit, cross your right ankle over the left ankle, and then start to walk yourself back in and up. You're still trying to stretch your right knee away so that your right knee is, or eventually will, come in line with your left. If being upright like this and the pressure in your hands and your shoulders is really uncomfortable, then you can simply lay down on your back and find the same upright figure. Well, not upright, but you can find the figure four stretch, maybe applying some pressure on your knees or threading the needle. It's totally your choice. Let's get just over a minute to go right here. Fred, do not even. Deep breaths, right? Controlling what we can. I might not be able to control the bird, but I can control my reaction to the bird and just breathe. If you did decide to lay down on your back for this one, go ahead, sit yourself up, and we're going to extend left leg long. You can keep your right ankle crossed over your left leg where it is, or maybe you even bring your right sole of the foot closer towards your hip flexor. And if your hamstrings are really tight, you might even want to sit back up on a block for this one. And we're just reaching a little bit forward. Your hands can rest on your thigh or your calf or just the mat. Or if you want an even more intense stretch, it's an opportunity to use your strap if you brought it. Maybe even with like a lifted chest. Keep both of your sit bones down on the floor. Wherever you are, we're hanging out here. We'll do another minute. So the more that you're flexing your left toes towards your face, the more intense that this stretch is also going to be. So if you're having trouble with your breath and you need to allow your toes to fall a little away from your face, that is absolutely okay. And as long as you have like a hinge, if you're actually shoulders in front of your hips, if you want to start to take a little bit of rounding, you can. We just want to make sure that we don't have any shoulders on top of hips, any big rounding from the back. If so, just bring your hands to your hips for these last few breaths here. And also to consider when we get to the other side. Okily dokily, release any sort of bind that you have on your left foot. We're going to deeply cross the right ankle over the left side, but you might need to release it closer towards the bottom of the mat, trying to press the whole sole of the foot down towards it. Right hand comes close by the base of your spine. Inhale, left arm up and over for some sort of spine twist if you need to keep your hands there. So once again, find that stacking, find that big lift forward and pull of your chest, almost like a upper body back bend. then the rotation through your chest and shoulders, and then you can look over your shoulders. You're going to find a lot more depth and benefit from the stretch if you start with your stack, your squeeze of your shoulders, your open of your chest, and then the twist of your head, than if you're just back here and you go right into your twist and everything's real crunchy. It's a little harder to correct than if you start off with that. Okay, we got 1 minute to go. And it is so great to practice with a mirror if you have one available for the idea of like seeing how your body's moving right now, getting your two shoulders in one line, having your chin neutral slash parallel to the floor. Slowly bring your head back in line with your heart. Bring your chest and shoulders in line with your legs. We're going to bring our hands over to the left side and just take a little bit of a counter stretch. You can roll over onto your right glute, maybe bending your elbows. Can you draw your shoulders away from your ears, lats down towards your hips? And just breathe here, long, slow, deep breaths into your back. Awesome. Both sit bones back down to the floor, both legs behind you. Bend your knees again and take that windshield wipe with your legs. As fast or as slow or as big or as small as you want to. Maybe even a little back bend here, supported, because we're going to come into our other side for the figure four stretch next. So this time, right foot stays down on the floor, and you can walk your hands back. Left ankle crosses over that right thigh and start to walk yourself up. Whole new side of the body. So if it does not feel good to you to be sitting upright for this figure four, remember that you can lay down. We're almost there, just a few more breaths. If you lay down on your back for the figure four stretch, sit yourself back up, extend your right leg long this time, left leg can stay crossed where it is. You can always come towards your inner thigh or bring in the sole of the right foot closer to your right hip flexor, both glutes down on the floor. And then starting to take that forward fold. Hands can be on the floor. You can use your block, your strap. Make sure there's not too much pressure in your left knee, and if so, just ease things up a little bit. Pardon me, I am clearly dehydrated because there is a cramp in my throat. Like, it's no tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? And it's going to be an amazing day because I said so. Great. On your next inhale, lift yourself up. Find that cross of your legs. Bring the sole of the left foot down towards the floor as much as you can. Left hand comes close by the base of your spine. Option to bring your right arm up and over, or just right hand on your shin. Find your stack, belly in, shoulders away from your ears, and then twist your shoulders, drawing that left shoulder back. And then a little bit more twist, turn, look over your shoulder. Keep both sit bones down on the floor. Keep your lower belly pulled in. Working towards the idea of two shoulders in a line, chin parallel to the floor. On your next inhale, ground through your sit bones, lengthen your spine, stretch up through the crown of your head. On your exhale, head comes back in line with heart. Inhale, stretch up again. Exhale, turn, twist to the opposite side, keeping those legs crossed. Both hands come to the floor, maybe a little roll onto the right glute, finding your counter twist. Words, words, words. Just a couple breaths here. Great. Press yourself up. We're going to swing our legs underneath of us and come onto our knees. And once you get there, you can shake it all out. You get some cat cow right now. So option to do whatever you want with your cat cow. We got child's pose coming up right after this. We got a little bit more attention for our upper body. by a little bit more. I mean a lot more. But here comes this nice big stretch into our hips and lengthening our spine and getting what feels good for our shoulders and back as well. So start to open your knees nice and wide. Send your glutes back towards your heels when you're ready. If you want more cat cow, please enjoy cat cow for a little bit longer and find your child's pose when you can. Forehead comes down towards the floor. Arms can stretch all the way in front of you, or take a generous bend of your elbows, or maybe you really find a little love for your back and separation of your shoulders by bringing your hands all the way back towards your feet. In which case, you might even want to turn your head to one side. So these big breaths into the back side of the body, creating some expansion on your backside ribs on your inhale, and relaxation, contraction on your exhale. If you have your head turned to one side, carefully turn your head to the opposite side. Gentle pull of your lats, of that big muscle in your back down towards your hips to help draw your shoulders a little away from your ears. Great. If you have your hands behind you, drag your fingers forward onto your shoulders. And if you have your arms extended, drag your fingers back under your shoulders. And we're going to press ourselves up into kneeling. And we're going to work here from kneeling for a bit. So if kneeling itself is uncomfortable for you, or if you just want to be as comfortable as possible, perhaps you bring a block under your glutes. And I like to turn my block sideways to really be like a nice wide seat instead of that narrow seat, but whatever feels most comfortable for you. Okay. Shoulders rolled down away from your ears. Let's actually take 3 breaths before we get started. So on your next inhale, draw your shoulders all the way up towards your ears. And on your exhale, relax your shoulders down. Open mouth, sigh. 2 more times. Inhale, draw shoulders up. Exhale, relax shoulders down. Moving at your own pace and your own breath. Last one. Once your shoulders are relaxed down, stretch your fingers all the way down towards the floor. Check out if there's any rounding or arching of your back. Stack your shoulders and bring your fingers to your low back. You might want or need your strap here if it's hard for you to bring your hands together. We're going to trace our fingers up a little bit higher, higher, higher. I'm making a tent with my hands and I'm working towards coming into reverse prayer. But coming into reverse prayer, you don't want to bring that extra arch towards your back. So a full reverse prayer isn't working for you today. Just trying to roll your shoulders down and back, thinking about stretch your elbows down, thinking about tucking that pelvis under. We're going to spend 1 more minute here. And it's only shortly after noon, and I'm feeling pretty tight. So you might not be able to see, but I can't fully get my hands together today. And that's okay. My fingertips are touching. I'm getting a good stretch. I feel the stretch in my wrist, in the chest and pecs, and the forearms. One more big inhale. On your exhale, stretch your fingers down. Inhale your arms up. And now we're going to take some eagle arms. So right arm comes underneath of the left, cross at your elbows. Thumbs can come towards your face, pinky fingers going towards the wall in front of you. And if that's too much of a stretch, simply cross your elbows on top. Simply place your hands palms on your shoulders. But then from there, once again, try not to overarch your back while you're kneeling. Draw your elbows a little forward and up. And then check out if your hands are coming towards your face. And can you stack your hands on top of your elbows? And you're continually pulling your shoulders down and back. So you're not trying to emphasize this rounding in. You're actually trying to pull your arms apart, pulling your shoulder blades apart. And the more that those hands are coming forward, stacked on top of your elbows, the bigger stretch you're going to get in your back. We got 1 minute left. So tune back into your breath, your positive intention, expectation, affirmation. On your next exhale, carefully relax your elbows down, separate your hands, inhale your arms up overhead again. And then exhale, left arm swings or sweeps underneath of the right with some intention, crossing at the elbows, a little pressure of the right elbow into your left. Ooh. Working to bring your hands palms on top of your elbows and then seeing what kind of lift you can get. I'm feeling tight and I cannot bring my hands as high on this side, and that is okay. And we've got 1 minute to go. Still trying to pull your shoulder blades apart. Think about trying to pull your hands apart back to their original sides. And keep that lower belly pulled in and that gentle little tuck of your pelvis. So your pelvis should be neutral right now. We're not spilling out the front of the ball. We're not spilling out the back of the ball. Last few breaths. And one more deep inhale and allow yourself to relax your hands down, separate your hands on your exhale. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, let's take a cactus of our arms. Squeeze shoulder blades together, lift your chest. Inhale, arms up nice and high. Exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Come off of your block. Let's sit down on our glutes. You can use your strap for this next one, but you don't need to. We're going to lay down on our backs and we're going to come into a reclined cow face pose. I'm going to talk you through it. Let's start with knees bent. Blocks can be nearby. Maybe you even have your blocks to the outsides of your thighs. So we're also going to enjoy some bound angle. Okay, laying down on your back. Do 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 do. Keep your right arm down by your side, right palm facing down towards the floor, and inhale your left arm up overhead with your left palm facing towards the ceiling. And then take a moment and just relax. Sink into your mat space. Take any tension out of your shoulders. We're going to drop our knees over to the right. And we're going to bend the left elbow and bring the left palm to your upper back so that the back of your head is relaxing on your bent left arm. And then we're going to allow our knees to fall over to the left, and we're going to bend the right arm, and maybe the right hand just comes to your low back, palm facing down towards the floor. But we're going for cow face, so maybe your fingers even touch each other. Find what feels good. Your elbows pointing in opposite directions from each other one day in the future in a nice straight line. And you can keep your knees bent, or you can open your legs nice and wide and come into your reclined bound angle. And start to relax. I'm even going to take a moment and press into the outer edges of my feet to lift my glutes to make sure that my seat is not in the way of my relaxing. This block is in the way of my relaxing though. Find your stillness. We're coming towards the end of our asanas today. Okay, we're going to switch our arms to come to the other side. So if your legs are in that reclined bound angle, go ahead, send your knees back up towards the ceiling. And coming out opposite the way we went in, we're going to roll over to the left side, release that right arm from underneath of you. And you can roll to the right side, release your left arm from underneath. And then switch your arms. Left palm comes down to the floor by your side, right arm comes up overhead. Rolling over to the left to get your right arm underneath of you, rolling over to the right to get your left arm underneath of you. Take your time. One side might be tighter than the other. It was really easy for me to bring my fingers super close together on one side and not happening on the other, but I can still find a place to find stillness. And I hope that you can do the same, however deep or shallow you created this posture to be. And then same option to open your knees nice and wide. You press into the outer edges of the feet to relax your glutes from underneath of you. Find your stillness wherever it may be. Once again, coming in opposite, sorry, coming out opposite the way we went in. Go ahead, clamshell your legs back together. Roll your knees over to the right, release your left hand. Roll your knees over to the left, release your right arm, and then draw both of your knees up towards your chest. Knees to chest pose. Give yourself a couple circles right here. Maybe rocking gently side to side. Maybe just some circles with your knees in one direction, circles with your knees in the opposite direction. And then taking a couple breaths, if you would like, sending your legs all the way up towards the ceiling for a nice gentle inversion while we're on our backs. You can even open your arms wide to the side for a little legs up the imaginary wall. Helpful for lymphatic draining, just sending more blood flow back down to the heart. Your knees can be bent as generously as you want or need. And of course, your strap is nearby, so you're welcome to use that to assist you. We'll just hang out here for a couple more breaths. When you're ready, feel welcome to draw your knees back to the chest, release the soles of the feet to the floor, and come into your final savasana. However, your final savasana is going to look today, whether you keep your knees bent and tent them in towards each other, or extend your legs long, arms can be wide, legs can be wide, or everything can be really narrow, close into each other for a more traditional savasana. Just create stillness in your breath one more time as you allow your practice and your intentions to just settle in and sink in a little bit deeper. So whether you set one before or you choose to set one now, think of something positive that you can bring into your mind space, into your long, slow, deep breaths throughout the rest of the day, the week, maybe even the month, that you can feel good about. My current intention is the idea that I'm doing this for myself, that I'm working to fill my own cup and find my own joy before I really share myself with others. And that I want that joy to be created by the good things I do for me, as opposed to the joy that it feels when other good people do things for me. And sometimes that great filling the cup feeling is doing things for others. So that's a great place that you might turn if you're maybe not feeling your best or most confident about yourself. What can you take the time to do for someone else? Whether it's actually donating your time or cooking someone a meal, simply holding a door open or sharing a smile or telling a stranger a compliment. Just some deep thoughts. All right, I'm going to keep you here in your final savasana, and I encourage you to stay for as long as your body needs, as long as you want. And I hope that when we're together again, you'll have had so much time to think wonderful thoughts that you will encourage yourself to eat good foods, to speak good words in your mind, body, and soul, do good deeds at least once a day. If no one's told you today, you are special and you are worth it, and there is no one better to be than yourself. So thank you so much for coming and taking a little bit of my awesome energy and putting some of yours out there in the world. Because as we invest in ourselves and we feel better, we really do encourage those around us to do the same. And if we start feeling our best and everyone else starts feeling their best, how wonderful a world that it can be. So one breath, one day at a time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your practice and day. Namaste.